Yo, what's up, guys? And welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be ranking Premier League strikers. So literally, we've gone through every other position now, and now we're on strikers. So there's obviously been some great strikers in the Premier League this season. Some that have maybe we thought that they would do too well this season that have done very, very well. Obviously, there's one from Leicester that we'll talk about later. But yes, guys, if you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 300 subs. Susan's just taking the likes away. 2 likes, I think one of the videos ended on. What are we doing wrong? What have we done wrong that's making us taking the likes away? So it's just a disgrace, as strong words to say. But yes, guys, if you need, make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Fearless. So we're going to get into the first one here with Callum Robinson. And I think, personally, if it was just based off Chelsea games, he'd be the best.
Yeah,
Obviously, Chelsea fans don't have the best of opinions on him. I think, personally, he goes average.
He's not really done anything against other teams, really, apart from Chelsea. I mean, I think he's got a goal against someone else, but that's about it, really. He's not too bad. He did quite well for Sheffield United in the Premier League, but there's not much to say about him, to be honest, apart from his goals against Chelsea. It's the only talking point within the player, but we'll move on to Calvert-Lewin. Where do you think he should be?
I think he goes in quality.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a good goal scorer for club and country as well. Scored a lot of goals this season, so yeah, he's done well. I think last season was kind of the season where with Ancelotti started scoring a few more goals, started to get more goal contributions. So he's a good player, and he's good. He's good position as well, because I noticed a lot of his goals are tap-ins, and you might think this is as a negative point, but you've got to get the goals and the positioning as well. So massive credit to him.
Yeah, right. We're going to get into the next one now with the goal trick.
This is another average one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think he's bad, but I mean, he's not a bad striker.
Yeah,
he does score a few goals. He scored against Villa. He scored a good few goals last season as well. And I think it's obviously not down to him. I think he has saved Sheffield United a few times. Last season,
I think he is better than Callum Robinson.
Yeah, I think he's a more often goal scorer. You see his name pop up a few more times than Callum Robinson because he gets more goals, and I think he's more of a key player for Sheffield United. I think obviously Callum Robinson was sold by Sheffield United, so there you go. Just goes to show which one's the better striker. So we'll move on to Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson, the former Bournemouth
I think he goes in quality.
I think when we get more players in quality, I think he'll come in at the bottom. But obviously, he's a goal scorer since 2015 in the Premier League with Bournemouth, and I think he's done very well for them. And one of their main players in the past decade for them. So he's a good player. He's a good goal scorer as well. Continues to get goals every single season. So yeah, he's done very well. So we'll move on to Che Adams, the former Birmingham man. I think if we're basing it at the start of the season, then maybe we'll say something else. But I think he's very average. I think he's better than McGoldrick myself, because I just think that you'd rather have Che Adams in your side than McGoldrick. Yeah, I think Che Adams a bit more spark, a bit more pace, obviously younger as well. So I think there's a bit more promise with Che Adams. But I think he had a good start to the season, scored against Manchester City last season as well, at home. So he's not a bad player, but he does need to stay consistent. So that's the thing I'd say.
Yeah, obviously he plays with Ings, so it's a good partnership for Southampton. But they'll do well. Less sad about it now, because they're not been doing the best. But we'll get into the next one with Harry Kane.
There's no debate here. Best he's incredible.
As an Arsenal fan, I just
what's he got, like 13 assists in the Premier League this season? Something like that.
The consistency as well. He's hit like 30. He's hit like 20 plus goals in like the last 3-4 years. Yeah, something like that.
And he's incredible. He's an incredible striker. And it's a bit of a talking point. Should he leave Tottenham Hotspur? If he wants to win trophies, yes. If he wants to stay and be one of the greatest players to ever play for the club, then no. I think that's what I'll say for it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, to be fair. I think you got to wait till see what's going to happen with this, because obviously you've got that Ryan Mason guy as manager, who, by the way, has got more cup finals in like 3 days of managing than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has in 851 days. But I think Harry Kane. I don't know. You got to see who manager's going to come in. If it stays with Ryan Mason, because they might just say, oh, you know
I think
what,
he'll stay with Ryan Mason, to be honest. If he just keeps up a few wins, yeah. I think he will. I mean, he got a good win against Southampton. If he gets another win in the next few games, then why not stay with him? He could become a good manager.
If they can compete with Man City, so
obviously it was very unfortunate what happened to him as a player. So I think the managerial career,
I saw that.
Brilliant for
him. Definitely, and he's like this is a stat as well. He's the youngest ever manager to win a game.
Yeah,
29, I think he is. Yeah. When I saw 29, I was like, wow, what happened to him? And obviously I saw that he
head injury.
I think it was Cahill.
Skull clash with Gareth Cahill. So there you go.
Yeah, but we're getting to the next one now with Alexander Mitrovic.
He's one of those players that are too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Premier League. Yeah. He's definitely average. I think he's better than McGoldrick, in my opinion. He's more dangerous than McGoldrick. I mean, when you see Mitrovic, you worry about the aerial battles as a defender, and he's a big, strong player, and he can be a bit of a nuisance. But he's not really worked for him in the Premier League. Obviously, he scored a good few goals for Newcastle, but he's not the greatest. But he does bag a lot of goals in the Championship. But it's all good doing it in the Championship, but you've got to do it in the Premier League as well, which he hasn't done. So we'll move on to Patrick Banford. Where do you think he should be?
Now, if it was just based on this season, we'll be saying quality.
I think he's quality, yeah. I think he's better than Callum Wilson. I think he's a great player. Yeah, he is, in my opinion.
Callum Wilson's been doing it consistently. This is Bamford's first season.
Yeah, but Patrick Bamford, it's Patrick Bamford for crying out loud. I genuinely think, but I mean, Patrick Bamford is always going to get in over Callum Wilson in the England squad.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And why is that? Because Callum Wilson's better.
More goals.
I think, look at your overall ability. Southgate is still going to pick Banford over Wilson. I think Banford is much better, and if you compare it to the season, obviously Wilson has been injured, but obviously it's past few seasons with Wilson. But you can see your point, but I think Patrick Banford is the better goal scorer and the better player overall, because he's not just got goals to his game, he's got assists, he's got much more ability. So I think Banford is better, and I'd rather have Banford in my team than Callum Wilson.
Fair enough. Right, we'll get into the next one now. Danny Ings. I think he goes in quality.
It's a difficult one, really, but I think he goes in quality, but it's a debate between Banford or Ings for me. And I think Ings, just because he's a better goal scorer.
Yeah,
and he's just a better goal scorer than Banford. And I think Ings, obviously you mentioned the point with Callum Wilson, but Ings has been around since 2014, 2015. So obviously that's a lot more than Banford, but I think I'd rather have Ings in my team than Patrick Banford. I think Banford's obviously been better this season, but I think Ings is probably the better option for a striker. So we'll move on to Kelechi Iheanacho. He scored like 11 goals in his last 8 games or something like that. So it's ridiculous how well he's been doing. I think he definitely. I think he's quality, but I think he goes in the underrated for me, because he doesn't really get talked about. If he was playing for Manchester City right now and he was doing that, then he'll get talked about a lot more. If he's playing for Manchester United and doing that, but I think Iheanacho, his turnaround has been absolutely fantastic. Every Leicester fan just wanted him gone. Just didn't want to have him at the club because he just became to be a flop. But he's been playing really well. Him and Jamie Vardy up front is working really well. Scored some great goals. Even when he's not playing well, he's still bagging goals. So he's been a really important player. He's got like 21 goal contributions this season. He's got more goals than Vardy in all competitions as well. So he's been incredible this season for us. And he
hasn't played the full season, was it?
Exactly.
So
Exactly, but Vardy has had a lot of injuries as well. Hernia injuries as well. So there you go. We'll move on to Timo Werner. I think he definitely goes into quality, but he's definitely better than Ings and Banford and that. I think when we're talking about that overall ability, it's tough between Calvert-Lewin and Werner. I think I'd rather have Werner on my team just because of his potential. And I think he's got better potential than Calvert-Lewin. And I think Werner offers more than Calvert-Lewin as well, because Werner he can play on the wing as well. He's got a good amount of speed, very quick. And can be very difficult to defend against. He'll get goals as well. So I think Werner is probably better than Calvert-Lewin, even though I think it's Calvert-Lewin's first breakthrough season. So I think Werner's better.
Fair enough. I will go with Chris Wood. Now, I don't know if it's me, but I either think he goes in underrated or I think he goes at the bottom of quality.
I don't know.
Because he's always a player that always consistently scores goals for for Burnley. He's been doing it for the past couple of seasons.
Yeah,
but maybe he goes in the top of average.
I think he goes into the top of average just because he's not been good this season. He's not scored many goals this season either, and he's not really been the greatest of players for Burnley. Obviously, the past few years he has been, but this season he's just not really been himself. Maybe missing the fans or what. But the former Leicester player, so I'll show a little bit of respect for him. He's a good goal scorer, good aerial ability. So he's a dangerous player as well. He's a strong one as well. So he's always a bit of a nuisance for defenders and corners and things like that. But we'll move on to Olly Mcburney. I think this is another average one for me. He's very bang average.
I'd say there. Actually, no, I'd go there.
Really? You think Callum Robinson's better?
Oh,
I think McBurney scored a lot of goals last season as well. He scored a lot of goals in the Premier League as well. So,
true.
I think McBurney is probably better than Robinson. I think it's stuff between McGoldrich and Olly Mcburney. I mean, they've not been good this season. I think that's in conclusion. But I think I'd rather have McGoldrich than McBurney, just because I think he offers more than, McBurney's a bit of an aerial player, so I think McGoldrich offers more. But we'll move on to Jordan Ayew, who hasn't really had the best of seasons, but last season he was quite good. I think this is another average one for me. He scored a great goal against West Ham. It was a more of a solo goal where he chipped it over the keeper. It's beautiful in the 90th minute. But I think he's probably, for me, he's probably behind. I think he's second in my opinion. He's not a bad player. He's a dangerous player as well. He scored some good goals last season, but this season not really seen too much of him, and there's not much to really say about the guy. But we'll move on to Michel Antonio, who used to be a right back, and now he's a striker. So it's incredible how he's just become a striker. I think
he goes either the.
I think he goes at the bottom of quality or the top of average. I think we'll put him at the bottom of quality because I think he's had injuries, but he does score some good goals and he scores some important goals as well. I always remember his one against Spurs when Spurs first defeat at the new stadium.
The celebration as well.
Yeah, that was a celebrate. He always does some great celebrations as well. But I think the bottom of quality. But let us know in the comments below if you disagree with any of these choices so far, and let us know which ones you disagree with. But move on to Tammy Abraham, who could be leaving Chelsea. I think he goes in quality. I think he definitely goes in the quality. I think he's better than Callum Wilson, in my opinion. I think Tammy Abraham, he's a better player overall than Callum Wilson, in my opinion. I'd rather have Tammy Abraham in my team. I mean, he's Chelsea's top goal scorer this season, despite Hardy even playing and Hardy being in the squad. So, I mean, all competitions, there you go. But I think he's a great player. He's got good aerial ability. He scored a lot of goals last season as well, in the 19-20 season. This season, with Timo Werner coming in, with a lot of players coming in for Chelsea, like Havertz, he's not really had that opportunity. In my opinion, he should leave. I think he should go to West Ham, personally. I think that would be the best one.
West Ham, they were saying Leicester.
Yeah, we were interested as well, but we won't go for him, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to spend that much money. I think West Ham will be more willing, and if I was Stan here, I'll definitely go to West Ham because he'll be getting first team football straight away. And
I think he goes. I think he fits in with West Ham as well.
Yeah,
definitely, because I feel like he's a good striker. He always gets the goals. He's made a step up from the Championship, and he got the goals, especially in that. Was it 17-18 season? Can't remember now.
Villa.
Yeah,
18-19, I think.
18-19 it might have been. I'm not too sure.
18,
but we'll go into the next one now with Josh Madge. Obviously, a goat in Ryan's career mode with Portsmouth.
It's another average one, to be honest. I've not seen too much from him to put him in the other tier. He scored on his debut against Everton, and he's been decent for Fulham so far, but think I definitely won't put him that high up. I mean, he's only had a few games in the Premier League, so I think I'll probably put him in front of Callum Robinson for me. He's a good striker, but he's been in the French league, so we can't really. Liga's a bit of a. It's not really the Premier League, so I think he's only had a few games, so I don't think you can put him so far up in there. But we'll move on to Gabriel Jesus. It's a bit of a difficult one, really, because sometimes he's good, but then sometimes he's absolutely crap. I don't know. I really don't know. I think he goes there where you have him or in front of Callum Wilson because
I don't think he's in front of Callum Wilson.
I think for me, I'd rather have Jesus in my team. Sometimes because when Jesus is good, he's better than Callum Wilson. He's better than few of these strikers in quality. But when he's bad, he is quite bad. So there you go.
Yeah, we'll get into the next one now with Joe Linton. Obviously, let's just say a massive flop for Newcastle, and he's scoring a couple of goals.
Good eventually.
Yeah,
he's doing really well recently for Newcastle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Scoring a good few goals. That. I don't think he's overrated because he's no one rates him at all. To be honest, but I think average is probably another section for him. I think probably in front of Mitrovic because he's more Premier League proven than Mitrovic because Mitrovic doesn't really get goals in the Premier League. Mitrovic don't really show his ability, and Joe Linton, he has not been great for Newcastle, but he has scored a few goals, so it's better than Mitrovic, who hasn't really done much. But we'll move on to Ashley Barnes, who scored a great goal against Burnley when Liverpool's first home loss in ages. It's another average one for me. I think he goes. I think he goes behind. Probably goes behind Mitrovic for me. I think.
Yeah.
He's not really a player you look at and think he's going to be dangerous. He's going to tear us apart or anything like that. But he's not really the greatest of players. I mean, he has a few good moments, but that's about it this season. I think obviously the moments he has this season, he scored a penalty against Liverpool, which was Liverpool's first home loss in ages. But let's move on to Christian Benteke. I think he goes average.
Yeah,
because he has actually been quite good. This season,
recently,
because he's not. He went a long time without scoring, and he's a bit of a meme. He flopped at Liverpool. He was incredible at Aston Villa as well. But what do you think of Benteke?
I've always liked him as a player. He's done all right when I've watched Crystal Palace, but especially this season, he scored that nice goal against Brighton. I think it was that was a very nice finish. Yeah, I think he goes. I think he goes in average, but only question is where.
I think he goes in front of Che Adams and Jordan Ayew for me because I think he has had that. Yeah, he was incredible at Aston Villa as well. I think he's more Premier League proven than a few of these in there. But we'll move on to former Banford man Ollie Watkins. What we saying about Ollie Watkins? Then?
I think he goes in the bottom of quality, maybe.
Yeah. I think he goes in the bottom of quality because he is a good player. He does get a few goals. Got a hat-trick against Liverpool as well, and he scored on his debut against England. Obviously, at San Marino, but it wasn't the easiest of goals. It was around the edge of the box, so you got to give him credit for that. But he's a good player. He's 25 years old, so he's got a lot of his career to go. With players such as Jack Grealish near him, John McGinn, Bertrand Traore, Trezeguet, a lot of good players around him. He does get a few goals. I think he's got around 10 to 12 goals this season, which isn't bad for his first season in the Premier League, which he's still developing as a player in. But what do you think of Ollie Watkins?
Yeah, I don't mind him as a player. He's someone that If I had him in my team, I wouldn't be complaining. He's a very good player. He's made a step up, especially from the Championship to the Premier League. And compared to obviously, you've had Benrahma compared to Watkins. Benrahma didn't really make the step up. Watkins has made a step up, and I think he really does fit in Aston Villa's side because he's that pressing forward type of striker. He always tries to win the ball back. Yeah. And when he's pressing, trying to win the ball back, you got obviously Grealish that can use his quality, and you got himself that can use his quality as well. And it works out very well for Aston Villa sometimes.
We'll move on to Aubameyang. I'll let you speak first, unless as you're the Arsenal fan. Where do you think he goes?
Aubameyang.
If we're talking last season, probably put him in best at the around the bottom. But he's definitely not there now, 100%.
Oh,
Where does he go? Because he's a bit of a meme now. Just no one really rates him. I think in terms of overall ability, he's probably the top of this quality, but I don't think he should. I don't think he deserves to be at the top of that quality. I think all the strikers ahead of him, I'd rather have in my team. Let's face it. I think Aubameyang, he was absolutely fantastic for a few years for Arsenal. Obviously, scored a goal on his debut against Everton, and he's very well. But I think now, young boys are at 31, 32, and I think this is he's just going to get worse from now on. He's not really a player that's going to get better with age.
He's had more haircuts. He's had more haircuts this season than most probably goals, haven't he?
Yeah. There you go. But he definitely don't deserve to be any higher than that. But we'll move on to Neil Maupay, and for me, I think the guy's overrated.
This is me not being sorry, by the way. Putting him bad.
I think it is. I think he's overrated because when I watch his game, he doesn't get many goals, he doesn't get many assists, and he's not actually that great because people just know him for absolutely rattling the Arsenal fan base, and it's just.
But do people even think he's good though? Or do people even rate him? That's the thing.
Well, they do. Well, people are obviously going to rate him for what he did against Arsenal. And I think people don't really see that he's not actually a great player. Obviously, he came from Banford. Yeah, he's a decent player to have, but I think if we put... I think he's overrated, but he's better than a few of these players in average. But I think for me, he's overrated. I think people just rate him just because of what he did, late goal against Arsenal and some of the goals he scores and some of his celebrations. But I'll move on to a Leicester player, Jamie Vardy. I think he definitely goes in the top of quality for me. He definitely goes in the top of quality. He's 100% better than Varane, Callum and Aubameyang. This season, obviously, he's went on a goal drought, but when he's on that goal drought, he has been absolutely fantastic. He's been providing Kelechi Iheanacho. Kelechi Iheanacho's main success from all of these games is Jamie Vardy. And you've seen it against West Bromwich Albion. He did really well. Of course, he ends his goal drought against West Bromwich Albion. You love to see it. But, obviously, he got a goal and an assist and the cheeky little nutmeg on Darrow O'Shea as well. So I think he's a top quality player, and one of the better. Always rattles all club fan bases. So he's a pleasure to have at Leicester. But Raul Jimenez now, who's obviously been injured for the majority of the season with a clash with David Luiz.
It's hard to really base him off his season. If we're talking about last season, I think he goes.
I mean, I think we are talking about his overall ability. I think he's better than Aubameyang, and that's where. It's a tough one, really, because I think his overall ability, I think Calvert-Lewin offers more in his game than Raul Jimenez, but I think for me, Raul Jimenez is probably better than Calvert-Lewin. I think Raul Jimenez, he's a good quality striker, always got the goals, and he does it in big moments as well. You've seen it. I think they're going to beat United in the cup. He scored against Liverpool when they lost 2-1 as well. It was a great goal of Adama Traore whipping the ball in the air. I remember that, and he's a good quality player. It's obviously a shame what's happened to him, but hopefully he'll be back soon for Wolves. And hopefully Pedro Neto will be soon, because I'd love to see Pedro Neto, Traore, and Ibrahim up front, because that's a deadly front through.
I'll be scared as for watching Wolves for next season. But for next one we got is Roberto Firmino. I thought it was Raul Firmino.
I don't know where this one goes, to be honest. He's not underrated. He's really over. I think he's in overrated, or he's in the top of average for me. I genuinely think he's an average player, because
I think
he's a striker, but he doesn't get goals. So that's not really helpful for what Liverpool need. And obviously a few years ago, he was absolutely incredible. He was unplayable. His skills, everything. He was one of the best players in the Premier League at the time. But now he's kind of just faded away. He's not that great anymore. And if I was Jurgen Klopp, I'd be selling him, because he's a bit useless now. And I think Liverpool need a striker that will get goals. And if they get a striker that get goals, I mean, Salah, Mane next to him. If Mane, gets back on form and has a good season, then Liverpool's front three will automatically be deadly again. But they've probably got to sort out their defence before Van Dijk's back. So there you go. Sergio Aguero.
I
He's
think we
definitely
put
the
him.
best. I think we'll put him second best just because of the fact that he has been injured for a while and he doesn't get a lot of goals anymore. He's not really what he used to be. And I think right now, obviously, Harry Kane is a lot better than Sergio Aguero.
Oh, yeah,
Aguero
definitely.
is one of the greatest ever players to play in the Premier League. And obviously, he scored a lot of iconic goals, like he did against QPR, the famous Aguero. Yeah, we all know that moment with Martin Tyler. But yeah, he's a great player. He scored a lot of goals over his time. He always bags a lot every single season, despite of injuries. But this season, he has had many injuries and missed many games, so he won't be able to keep up that goal scoring tally.
Fair enough. Now we'll go on to the next one now with Fabio Silva.
I think this guy has huge potential. In my opinion, he has huge potential. I think he is a good player. I think people just don't rate him just because he's missed a few sitters this season and Wolves paid a lot of money for him. But I think in a few years, when he gets more Premier League experience, when he gets more experience himself, because he's only around 19, 18. So, I think he deserves a little bit more respect because he's quite good. And I think he scored when they lost 3-2 to West Brom. He scored a very clever goal where he just held off the defender and put it in. But he's a decent player, but I'd probably put him near the bottom. I think he's probably better than Josh Madge. I think if we're talking about potential, he's probably got one of the most highest potentials in this whole tier list for me. I think he's a very bright player. In a few years, he definitely will be good for.
I'd say.
And it's good for Wolves because obviously Raul Jimenez, he's getting older and older, and then they've got Fabio Silva coming up. It's quite good for them to have a player such as his ability, but I do believe they did pay a bit too much for him. But we'll let you speak first with this one.
Lacazette. I think he goes in quality, and I think he goes above Aubameyang.
I think he's better than Aubameyang. I think this season, a lot of the players behind him are probably better. Such as Patrick Banford. But Lacazette, I mean, he had a good start for Arsenal, but was he really what you expected when he joined?
Not really.
He's not been what he's shown at Lyon.
Yeah. This season, he has been a lot better. He's done quite well this season, scoring goals.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, to be honest. Would you want to keep him? I think you definitely want to keep him, but would you want to keep Aubameyang?
I think you've got to keep one of them. And I think, personally, I just don't know. That's a tough one because
you'd rather keep the player on form and keep the better player.
Yeah,
it's like when Southgate picks an England squad, you should be picking the player on form and not just because they're overall ability. And Aubameyang, I can't really see him being what he was a few years ago.
Exactly.
Obviously, Lacazette's had a much better season. So I think I'd
rather have
a player that looks a bit better for the future.
Yeah, but to be fair though, where would Aubameyang go?
I don't know. That's his problem. Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. But I think he won't go. Dortmund won't have him. They've got Haaland, and he'll be staying for another season. So, I don't know where he'll go. Maybe he'll go Italy to Milan. I don't know. So we'll move on to the final one. Edison Cavani. He scored goals this season, and I think he definitely goes. I think he goes behind Werner because I think Werner has been better this season, and I think if we're basing it off this season, Werner's probably been better overall career. Obviously, Cavani's had so much more experience. He's been brilliant for Uruguay as well, and he scored a lot of goals for PSG and in the Champions League as well. I think he definitely goes in that quality. He's not been bad for United, but he does kind of ghost a lot in some big games. And I noticed when he came on against Leicester, he did absolutely nothing. I didn't notice he came on, so. There you go, really.
There's a tier list. But do you think there's anyone that maybe deserve going bad?
I think when you look at this tier list, I mean, we tried to put one player in bad, but when you look at the tier list, it's not really anybody. I mean, there might be Chelsea fans saying Callum Robinson, and there might be Arsenal fans saying Mopé, but it's not really anybody here. But there you go.
We'll have to leave it like that. So yes, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. If you're new, make sure to like and subscribe. As we said, let's try and hit 300 subs. I don't think we're going to be doing it by the end of this month. Maybe we could do it by the end of May, maybe.
Maybe around the middle, hopefully.
Hopefully we can get it by the end of May. But yes, guys, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. We're going to get into the first one here with Callum Robinson. I got that wrong. Right, 3.
What happened there? Right,
was I say Robinson?
We'll go.
Okay. So we're going to get into the first one here with Callum Callum. What am I saying?
Callum.
Callum. Right.
Right, let's go.
So we're going to get into the first one here with Callum. Oh, I can't say his name now. This is getting. Oh,
Callum Robinson.
Okay.